The world is a constant interplay of three dimensions: time, space, and people. There are times when, as people, we feel holier. There are places in the world that are holy, and there are times of the year that are special and holy. In truth, every month has its own particular energy and holiness. The month of Elul, the last month of the year, is the month of Rachamim, the month of divine mercifulness, during which the 13 attributes of divine mercy are most prevalent and radiate and permeate the world. Moshe was acutely aware of the unique holiness and energy of the month of Elul. He knew the secret of timing. As the world says, timing is everything. And so, after the Jewish people had committed the egregious sin of the golden calf, turning their backs on God so soon after having witnessed God personally and up front at Mount Sinai, he waited from the 17th of Tammuz, when he had first come down the mountain with the first set of tablets, until the first day of Elul, a month and a half, to then go back on Mount Sinai and to ask God for forgiveness, because the time was right. And 40 days and 40 nights he spent on Mount Sinai, and came back to the people on Yom Kippur with the second set of tablets and with God's forgiveness. So the month of Elul is a time of forgiveness, a time of kindness, a time of mercifulness. And what Moshe was doing by praying and connecting to God was really appealing to that energy that was being made available during the month of Elul. By any measure, God could have very justifiably turned to the Jewish people after seeing them dance around the golden calf and say what one of our presidential candidates is fond of saying: "You're fired. You have no place in this enterprise anymore." It would be similar to an employee of a company committing some egregious breach of company protocol, compromising the company, and any employer would justifiably say, you crossed the line and we cannot continue. By any measure, worshipping the golden calf crossed the line that God justifiably was inclined to say, "You're all fired. This didn't work, and we're going to have to start this thing all over again. I'm going to have to find a new people. I'm going to have to start this company all over again. I'm going to have to find new employees." And he would have had every right to do that. But Moshe was going to a place, and he was looking to connect to a part of God where his relationship with the Jewish people is not purely performance-based, like an employer or an employee, but to reach a deeper place, going to the place where God was motivated from the very outset to want to create a world and want to have a people. And Moshe was saying to God, "Listen, this is the world you created, and these are the people that you created. And with all of their vulnerabilities and all of their weaknesses, and they stumbled and they failed in worshiping the golden calf, admittedly, but they're still your people. These are the people that you created. These are the people that you gave the Torah to. Give them another chance." And God happily acquiesced and forgave the Jewish people. So the month of Elul is a time of divine mercifulness. When we look back at the year that has passed, we'll all find instances in which we failed and maybe even committed an egregious and flagrant sin, by which measure God would say, you really failed me this past year, and I don't really see a way forward from here. I don't see a future for the two of us. I mean, you've just crossed a red line that I don't see any point of return. But the month of Elul, God says, you know what? No matter what you've done, you're mine, and we're in this together. And I'm happy to forgive and to move forward into a new year and start with a clean slate all over again. The Alter Rebbe famously compares the month of Elul to a time when a king ventures forth out of the royal palace where he's largely inaccessible. And he goes out into the fields and he meets people, laborers, people who are just living life, and makes himself accessible and available to them, engages them in conversation, smiles to them, shows them a merciful and listening ear. That, the Alter Rebbe says, is the month of Elul. The king is in the field of life, the place where we all hang out, in the workplace, the places where we are prone to make the biggest mistakes. The king is not just in the synagogue, in the shul, or in the yeshiva, where the presence of God is palpable and present always. The king being in the field means he's in the farthest and outer reaches of life, where people are just living life and working, and where we're most susceptible and most prone to perhaps doing things we shouldn't. And he comes to that place as if to say, in whatever environment you find yourself, I'm here for you. And not just when you're exhibiting holiness, but even in the ordinary things that you do. I'm available to you, I'm accessible to you, and happy and ready to forgive for any indiscretion that you may have committed during the course of the past year. So all we need to do is to utilize the opportunity. And if you saw a presidential entourage stop by your workplace, and out come the security forces and the president, and starts to walk around your office space, your field, who wouldn't want to take the opportunity to reach out, shake his hand, say hello? If the president's coming to say to you, I'd love to hear what you have to say. How's your life? What's going on? How can I be of service to you? How can I improve your life and your circumstance? One would be pretty foolhardy not to take that opportunity. So all we need to do during the month of Elul is effectively just make the effort to meet God where He Himself has made Himself available. And when the month of Elul is over, it's like the president going back to the White House. God goes back to His palace and is more in the mode and role of sovereign, of king. And so all the language of the prayers on Rosh Hashanah and the high holidays is referencing God as Melech, as king, and our pledge of allegiance and fidelity to the king. But that's all predicated on the renewal of the relationship. Before we can make a commitment, we have to first cleanse and renew and reinvigorate our relationship with God. And that's what the month of Elul is all about.